paid good money to see this movie. When they go out to a theater, they want cold sodas, hot popcorn, and no monsters in the projection booth.
Everyone pretend podcasting isn't boring.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
You know, Mia's a genius. She has the best grades in the whole country's history.
Fuck off.
Hey, let's play extreme dating.
I'll pass, but you guys play?
No. My friend Sarah here, she's a fortune teller. She's a true mind reader.
Can you read my mind?
What mind, cutie?
Welcome to Extreme Dating.
Hi, Mia.
He's your freaky date.
Just a misunderstanding.
How'd you find me so fast? Did you, hack my address or something?
Yeah, no. Brought you this.
What's that?
I am Detective Katrin, and here's my colleague, Detective Jack. We have a search warrant. Eva is gonna take us on this magical, orgasmic trip.
It's a sacred place. Meant just for us.
One love.
Hey folks, welcome to a special episode of the Projection Booth. I'm your host, Mike White. On this episode, I am joined again by Miguel Llansó. He is the director and writer of the new film Infinite Summer. We talked with him a few years ago about the films Crumbs and Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway. Be sure to keep an eye out for where it is playing around you. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy this interview.
How did Infinite Summer come together?
I started the project 5 years ago when I was on the road with Jesus Shows You the Way to the Highway. And I wanted to do something related to the future of mankind. And I was reading a lot about evolution, and I was worried about climate change, about all these problems that are hitting us. And I started reading a lot, and this is how it came. And at the same time, I was talking with new producers from Estonia, and they wanted to do something like a slasher for young people. So I thought, what can I say to young people, or what kind of dialogue I can enter with young people? And obviously, you can enter, I think, the dialogue about the future. And this is in one hand, I wanted to do something that is entertaining, like slasher, like coming of age. And in the other hand, I have all my worries about the future and everything. So how do you combine them together? I don't know. That was the challenge. Originally, it was not specifically for Estonia. It could be for Africa or Spain. But then the pandemics came, and we had to narrow everything up to Estonia because we couldn't travel. And then I started producing the film in my head, or writing it for Estonia, or the Estonian environment, basically.
I imagine you'd been to Estonia before?
I live in Estonia. I live in Estonia for the last, it's now 8 years. After coming from Ethiopia, I spent some years in Spain. And then I moved to Estonia, and I'm teaching there in the film school.
Yeah, I noticed that the film is dedicated to your students. Did they help out as well?
Yes, they help. Half of the crew were students, and they were doing their practices basically under the head of the team. So they were great practices for them. But also, we were doing a coming of age movie, and we want to be surrounded by people, like from the writing perspective to the casting to the art. The art was done by two very young female artists from Estonia, and I really like to have their input and dialogue with them, because it would be so. Yes, half of the crew were my students, and also I like to talk with them in the class, and I like to exchange all these opinions, philosophical opinions about the. I don't like to make just entertaining movies, but also I don't like to teach just entertaining movies, but to think and reflect about the world and live in. Yes, that was basically it. Yeah.
It was really nice too that you've got a female-led film.
It was at the beginning quite biographical, especially in the main character, this idea of coming out of your cocoon that I experienced myself. I was very shy. It was difficult for me to engage with people and girls. But then I thought maybe this masculine force was not the right force for the movie. I wanted to have something not so adrenalinic, but a little bit more pause and slower, with another type of approach to coming of age. I surrounded myself in the first place by producer Alison Ross Carter, gave a lot of input to the screenplay. A friend of mine who is a writer as well collaborated as a consultant. And the music of Laurie Spiegel, one of the pioneers of electronic music in the 70s from the New York community there. I wanted to have not just my perspective, but to make the film in dialogue with other perspectives about coming of age. Yeah.
I love how seamlessly and just how involved the special effects are with the narrative itself. Do you ever come to a point where you say, no, that's too much, we can't actually do this? Because it feels like the whole world is open to you just through the world of special effects.
Yes, the special effects, as you can imagine, it took 2 years to finish. So basically, at the beginning, we had a very ambitious plan, and it was super expensive. And at the end, we kept the ambitious plan. But it was super expensive, but at the same time, it took 2 years. So we counterbalanced that. We still did something really great, but it took a lot of time. And we found a great artist from Estonia, Eger Kanep, young as well. Most of the people in the film are really young. He's, I don't know, I cannot say that 25 or 26 years old. Maybe he kills me, maybe he's a little bit older, but he understood very well the energy of the film. You know, that it has a little bit of psychedelic component, a component of my reference where, you know, that a little bit the cosmic vertigo, 2001, and all these films that are not horror, but are somehow, yes, I would say the word is vertigo or unsettling somehow, even if you are not scared. It's not a scary maze, but it creates some, unsettling feeling. So I think we talk a lot about it from the conceptual art, and I think he found, a good balance between, that a little bit of humor, psychedelia, and cosmic vertigo.
Yeah, that was the other thing I noticed, is just how well integrated it was, and that it does have your aesthetic. Because we've talked about your previous films. I especially remember the masks that you were using in Jesus, and then to see that, and then to see how far you've come, but yet it all feels natural to the story.
This story was a bit more grounded, I would say realistic, even if it's not realistic. But we want to have more, the reactions, the emotional reactions of the characters are less cartoonish than in my other films. My other films are very cartoon, archetypical, I would say. But this one was more grounded, or I thought it was more grounded. Then I realized that it was not so much. But so I wanted to counterbalance that with the VFX to create more like this comic effect, drawings, graphic novel. My reference was Charles Verne, Black Hole, and then Akira, and then even Junji Ito. like be in between some mangas and some underground American comics. So how could I bring this when I'm going into a very kind of natural environments and more kind of a steady environments that doesn't allow you to dream so much, like the Ethiopia, that's very exotic. But what is happening in Estonia is milder. It's in terms of locations and everything. So always we thought the VFX is a counterbalance to that more natural spaces.
What were some of the biggest challenges you had on this shoot?
One of the big challenges was we had Rory Culkin as a Dr. Mindfulness. And when we started shooting, he said he was not coming because they offered him another better deal. And I hate him for that. People say I don't talk bad about it, but yes, I talk bad because I think it's not serious to do something like that. And why we had Rory? Because he was the perfect fit for Dr. Mindfulness, and he wanted to, and he liked the screenplay very much. And he was known and allowed us to. It was a good punch to sell the movie. But he said, "No, I'm not coming," and we couldn't stop the productions. But I have my friend Kieron Davis. And I always had him in the back of my head and inspired me very much to write Dr. Mindfulness, right? But for some commercial reasons, Rory was more famous. What can I say? But I always liked Kieron. No? So in the moment that, in the precise kind of second that Rory says, I'm not coming, I'm contacting Kieron and said, look, man, can you be here tomorrow? I said, I will be there tomorrow, Miguel. And I said, wow, he's a wonderful actor. He's a wonderful person. And this is how the story happened. And then he got in the plane because he had to get in the plane so fast. And then his passport was expired. And they only realized when he arrives, I think, in the connecting flight in Frankfurt, something like that. So they sent him back home. And then he has to renew the passport but it's like, and we have to cancel his shooting day. It's like, the fuck, what do we do? And they were very kind at the embassy to do this speedy, whatever passport. And they renew the passport at the speed of light. We wrote them like, look, we are shooting a movie. Can you please? And they say, yeah, let's do it. And he came. So that was one of the biggest challenge, very bureaucratic and very challenging this time, not so much like adventure like in Africa, but really like a fucked up one. But the rest of the filming was wonderful besides the COVID measures, but it was wonderful. Hannah Gross came all the way from the United States, from New York, and was fantastic because she adapted herself very much. He was shooting before with David Fincher. And she came, and I cannot say no, but she really liked David Fincher's set, but she liked our set as much as David Fincher.
That's got to make you feel good.
Yeah. Basically, half of the crew are students. The other half of the crew are my friends, my longtime friends and collaborators. It doesn't have a super big budget. And it had more budget than my previous film, but it still is an underground film. And I was scared. But she made it so easy. And the first day she came, she had to be naked in a green screen. And I said, look, it happened that you come and you had to make your nude scene. Sorry for that. And it was so great. She was so open and so empathic. And I consider her my friend. And it was wonderful.
Between all the students and your friends on the set, the energy must have been really big on that.
It was incredible. I think because normally I have shot with smaller crews, and this was one more like we consider a typical or normal crew, and it was amazing. Yeah, because everybody gave 120% and be surrounded by such a young energy and creative. So easy. Everything was so easy. Everything was so beautiful. Yeah, I had only good memories. I couldn't say, except for the Rory Culkin anecdote. The rest of it was great. We got along very well, and we were going to karaoke almost every 2 nights. after the shooting. Yes, it was great.
So is Fantasia, is this your premiere?
Yes, it's the world premiere. It's the very first big festival that select us, and we say yes. We didn't want to wait to anything because our previous films have played in Fantasia. It's a great festival, we believe, for science fiction films, and people are lovely. They are great organizers. Mitch is a great friend, and we became friends just through movies and through that community, not because we are partners in drinking. We are partners in movies. And also another great point was Hannah Gross was Canadian, and we thought it was a great match also to show it first in Canada. So yes, it's the world premiere.
I'm so excited for you because I know you're going over to Montreal. So to be able to see it with an audience is going to be exciting, I'm sure, and nerve-wracking.
It's scary. But I'm relieved, because we already have great selections, a festival selection, and we finally finished the film after 5 years, and it's going to be good. There will be people that like it more or less, but it's a relief for us just to finish and premiere in a great festival.
I hate to ask this question, but do you have your next project thought out?
Yes, I have 3 projects, and one is in animation in Ethiopia about the 60s and a secret space mission. Another one is a Mickey Mouse movie. Now that Mickey Mouse is in the public domain, the first Mickey Mouse, we will try to make the first Disney show of Mickey Mouse in the Soviet Union and what is happening there. And the third is a thriller and a family movie, and it's a Cold War movie that I think we are living in the times where we have to reflect again about the logics of enemies, friends, the politicians, etc. And the third movie is a fight movie, also very satirical, that links politicians with MMA fighters.
We had Hulk Hogan speak last night at the Republican National Convention, so I can completely see.
Wow. And it was very surprising because we have been developing this story like for a year now, and nobody came with an idea of mixing UFC fighters with politicians or something like that. So it's about that, basically.
Yeah, it is very appropriate for the times, yes. Are you just waiting to see which one goes first, which one gets funding?
Yes, because I realize if I focus on only one, sometimes it takes so long. And also, I think different projects work for different environments. I have also a newer, not agent, but manager, Atlas Entertainment, and also Jason, my agent from Gersh. And some things could work more in the US. Some things are more for the public funding in Europe. So let's see how I like to be always writing and having new projects. So let's see. I love the 3 of them. So I don't care if I start with one or with the second one.
As long as Rory Culkin isn't casting them.
Yeah.
Is there a good place for people to keep up with you in the movie? Because I'm sure it's going to be playing at a lot of different festivals as it goes along.
I'm posting everything with my Instagram, Miguel Llansó Films. Yes, only Lanzadera Films, my production company, and California. We are using more our production companies than setting out a page for the film this time. I think everything happens so fast, the selection and finishing the film, but we don't have a proper website yet.
I feel that more and more people are doing that, and especially promoting through Instagram. I'm really curious to see your photos from Montreal. I will be watching the updates because I'm super excited for you and for the film because I want a lot of people to see this.
Thank you so much, Mike. You have been always very supportive and a great reader of my films and other films that I love.
Miguel, it's always good talking with you. Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing more about how the movie goes over and watching it again.
I will keep you updated and also through website. And thank you. Thank you so much for the interview and for being interested.
As you smile and you go away, while the city begins to fade, I know I won't be the same. Just a memory again. I lay and I let me go. For peace and the sun to come. This time I don't want to know when the summer is gone.